I hope your week is off to a great start. Our final Optimus Prime video starts right now on Brickscale Studio. Welcome back to Brickscale Studio. My name is Jeff. Thank you so much for joining me. So today is a momentous episode. We, of course, have finished our building of Optimus Prime, both the scale model and the LEGO version. So today we'll be going over the finished models, both LEGO and scale model. On the scale model side, we'll be taking a look at all of the lights and the sounds and all that. And then on the LEGO side, we'll take a look at the transforming feature and some of the accessories over there. But until we get into that, let's just quickly take a look at some recap footage. All right, so on the LEGO side, we built the Matrix of Leadership, got that installed, an Energon cube, and then we have this axe weapon. And then over on the scale model side, we attach the head to the speaker. And then we also completed this back section, which will also house our battery compartment with this little magnetized cover. And that will do it for episode 21. Okay, so I can barely get both of these on, but to recap, in the LEGO episode, we built the blaster, and then on the scale model side, we built this chest section, and then we attached the arms. So we have the entire chest area. So I believe in the next episode, we will be assembling Optimus Prime on the scale model side. So we will have the complete robot in the next episode. But that will do it for episode 22. Okay, so this recap's going to be a little weird because the full scale model obviously will not fit on this table in this configuration with the camera. So I will post a picture of it. But in the LEGO portion, we started on this jetpack, so we'll continue with that on the next episode. I love this little printed piece here. And then over on the scale model side, we completed the full robot, and then specifically in this episode, we attached the chest and arms to the body, and then we attached all of the wiring and the circuit board. We put in the chest piece with the Matrix of Leadership. We attached the head. We put all the trim pieces on, and we have a finished robot. So that will do it for episode 23. Okay, so to recap this video, this is what we completed. On the LEGO side, we finished the jetpack, and we got the specifications plaque done. And then over on the scale model side, we did the weapons. Two weapons, and then we have this Matrix of Leadership, which you can open up and then close. There's that. Then we have this Energon axe. And then we did the blaster, one time full on, then half on, and then off. So that is the blaster. That completes Optimus Prime. So that will do it for episode 24. All right, cool. I can't believe where we started and where we ended up. Very cool build. But let's get into taking a look at the scale model version, and then we'll look at the LEGO version, and then we can come back and have a chat. Okay, so here we have the finished Optimus Prime models, and you can see just how big the scale model is versus the LEGO model. Basically, the LEGO model comes up to the scale model's knee. So yeah, the scale model, quite a bit bigger. So that's what we're going to delve into in this first part, and then we will talk about the LEGO model a little bit later. So let me get that out of the way. All right, so here again is the finished scale model, and we have the accessories. So we have a remote control. We have the Energon axe, blaster, and the Matrix of Leadership. So we will go over all of the accessories here in a little bit. I just wanted to show off the main model. And again, this model is very tall. So if we get out our tape measure, we can see to the top of the smokestacks, it is 32 inches, so almost 3 feet. And as we know, it is fully posable. The fingers pose, the head turns. Very cool. In fact, there is an entire video on the Agora Model website just on posing Optimus Prime. And also, this opens up. And we have the matrix of leadership in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn out the lights. And we will take a look at some of the lighting features and the voice. Okay, so the first thing you do is there is a switch in the back behind his head. You turn that on, and then on the remote control, you hit the Autobot emblem. And first thing we can turn on are his eyes. Very cool. So you click once, and they are stationary. Click twice, and they sort of fade in and out. Click again, and they blink. And then you can just turn them off. We'll just have them solid. And then in the chest, of course, is the matrix of leadership. And then we have, down below, we have the feet lights. And again, if you hit them once, they stay on solid. You hit them again, and the yellow lights blink. Hit them again, they turn off. So I am going to close this for the moment. Let me turn that off. All right, so if we close this up, then we can have our headlights. And again, push once, full on. Push again, they're sort of half power. And then push again, and they are off. We also have the transformer sound. Very cool. And then we have, let's see, some music. All right, and then we have some sounds. So I'm going to put the camera a little bit closer so that we can see his mouth move and everything. All right, so we have the mouth here.
Greetings, people of Earth. I am Optimus Prime. More than meets the eye. The Autobots need your help to defeat the Decepticons. Let's roll. Always a hero. Greetings, people of Earth. I am Optimus Prime. More than meets the eye. The Autobots need your help to defeat the Decepticons. Let's roll. Always a hero. Greetings, people of Earth. I am Optimus Prime.
All right, so again, that is the scale model. So let's take a little closer look at the weapons. All right, so here are Optimus Prime's weapons and accessories. So the first thing we built in the last episode was this larger matrix of leadership. This can get pulled out, and he can hold this in his hands like this. And it does light up. So we'll show all the lighting all at once so I don't have to keep turning the lights on and off. So that is this. It seems very loose, and it doesn't really clip together and stay closed. So it feels very, janky to me. But that is Matrix of Leadership, so let me set that aside. Then we have the Energon axe, which is right here. And this so what you would do to attach this is you would pull out, remember his hands have this little black piece, so you would pull out a hand and put this in its place, and this would be the Energon axe. And then we have this blaster, which has a bunch of opening. So this part opens, this opens, these open. So you can see sort of, I guess, the inner workings of the blaster. So yeah, very cool gun. So let me turn out the lights and we can take a look at the lighting effects on these parts. So here is the Matrix of Leadership. So you can pull off the little blue, and there's a little switch in here. There are magnets and tabs to line up to get that to fit back on there. So that lights up on both sides, like so. And then again, to turn it off, you just pop this little cover open, which it always sticks on one side. And there's a little switch. So that is that. Then we have the Energon axe, and it has a little button on the back here. So we hit the button, and it turns on solid. We hit it again, and it blinks. And then we hit it again, and it turns off again. There's a little magnet here on the back, and the batteries go in here. And then here is the blaster, which is very cool. So it has like sort of this little magazine. Like this is the trigger section, but the little magazine, if you sort of push it back, it will turn on full power, half power, and then off. And then back here is the battery box hidden, which I can't get with my little finger right now, but this little door will open and the battery goes in. And this one takes just standard, I believe, 2 AAA batteries. The axe and the Matrix of Leadership take little coin batteries, and they take different ones. Like, they don't take the same type of battery, so you have to buy 2 separate types of batteries. Let me turn the lights back on. So, aside from the Matrix of Leadership, which, again, it's just crazy. Like I said, it just doesn't feel very... Like, it just feels, like, very fragile. Like, I would wish that there was some sort of a mechanism that would latch these 2 halves together rather than them just being... yeah. The axe and the blaster are very cool. Obviously, my favorite is the blaster. I think that is awesome. The way that it looks, the way that it works, very cool. And the Energon axe, yeah, I mean, it's cool. We got, when we take a look at the LEGO side, you'll see we have an axe and a blaster for the LEGO side as well. But yeah, so that is the accessories for the scale model. Okay, so here we are on the LEGO side. So here is the finished Optimus Prime model. And then we have the jetpack, which we finished up in the last episode. And that will just, if we sort of flip it over. So this is going to go right inside there. And that's going to sit on just like so. And then, of course, we have the blaster, which very cool. Looks very similar to the scale model one, although no lights on this one, unfortunately. And then we have the axe, again, very similar, no lights. And then and we do have a Matrix of Leadership inside. However, again, this one does not light up. But instead of getting another larger one, we get an Energon cube. And then we get the specifications plaque, which is a sticker. And then we get this sort of bumper piece where we can replace, when we transform this into a semi, we can replace this piece with this piece. So that is Optimus Prime. So let's do the transformation and hope that I can do this without being super crazy. So let me put the accessories aside. All right, so the first thing we want to do, I'm going to turn him over on his side, is we want to take off the jetpack. And then we want to, so there are, in the legs, there are clips here. So the first thing you want to do is clip these together. Take the hands, fold in the thumbs, turn them topside, sort of like this, and lift this piece up. And then we're going to turn, oh, see now he just came apart. All right, so this was something I was going to talk about in the when I just sort of do my, you know, when I sit at the desk and so we want to turn these up. But one thing I have found is, let's see, so we want to turn this around. Let me just do the transformation and then we'll talk about it. Then here we go. So this seems to be working now. Okay. All right. So we finally got it. So I do apologize. I mean, the head came off as well. So we will definitely talk more about this when we get to our little stand-up section here. All right. So let's see if we can just finish transforming this. All right, so there we have Optimus in semi-form. It looks pretty good. Like I said, having built this and then taken it apart, yeah, it is very unstable. The clutch power has definitely weakened on these pieces. They just don't have the grip that they used to, so it proved a little difficult to get that transformation. One cool feature is you can take the blaster, fold the trigger in, and it will sit right here, so you don't have that rolling around. Like I said, this model is about 5 years old, and taking it apart and putting it back together definitely had an impact on the clutch of the parts. But overall, I think I will transform it back into a robot because that's how I had it displayed before. But that is Optimus Prime, the LEGO portion. All right, so how impressive is that scale model? I'm just blown away. I know I probably sound like a broken record, but it just turned out so much better than I thought it was going to. I was envisioning another crazy DeLorean situation where pieces didn't fit, it was annoying, stuff didn't work, but not the case at all. It was great. And then, yes, some struggle with the transforming feature on the LEGO side. It is what it is. Let's do our final recap, or our final summaries. So over the course of the build, on the scale model side, we completed 828 steps and used 994 parts. And on the LEGO side, 600 steps and 1,508 parts. All right, so super cool. So what are my thoughts sort of on the model itself? I will say, overall, very positive experience. I really enjoyed it. I did like, at first I was a little unsure about not having magazines like we do in our other builds and having to use download a PDF and go that route. But then I really discovered I liked that because I could zoom in on the pictures and the illustrations to get a better view of the parts and kind of where they went and everything. So very cool there. I think the parts were laid out in the trays and everything. That was cool, rather than all the little teeny boxes or bags that the parts came in the other builds. So that was nice. So a couple things that were a little bit annoying. I would have liked them to label the screws better. That was a little confusing. For our other builds, the screws were a lot more straightforward as far as labeling. For all of our builds so far, we've basically had two types of screws. We've had screws that go into plastic, and we've had screws that go into metal. So for our DeLorean build, our Titanic build, and our Batmobile builds, the screws have been very easily labeled. Basically, you know, AP, BP, CP, AM, CM, BM. Very simple. We know that if it ended in P, so AP, we know that P was plastic, so it was a screw that was going into plastic. And if it was an AM screw, it ended in M, and that was going into metal. So on the Optimus Prime build, though, they did have some screws that ended in M and they went into metal, although they had two different types. They had a PM screw and a PWM screw. And then also, instead of being instead of, you know, AM, BM, CM, it was like PM 2.3 by 6 or PM 2 by 6 by whatever. I mean, so it was very confusing. And then there was PWM screws on top of that. Yeah, a little confusing. And then same thing on the other one. They had PB and PWB. And again, they were like PWB 2.6 by 3, 2.3 by 8. So with all the numbers and the similar lettering, it was kind of easy to get confused on which screws you were supposed to use at times. So that was one sort of little pet peeve. The other one that I thought was annoying, but I mean, again, none of these are deal breakers, but you know, I'm just putting it out there. On the scale model side, Optimus Prime himself and the blaster and the remote all used normal batteries. So Optimus Prime used 4 AA batteries, the blaster used 2 AAA, and the remote used 2 AAA. That larger Matrix of Leadership and the Axe used a coin type battery, but 2 different kinds. So the Axe used one kind of coin battery, and the Matrix used another type of coin battery. So I had to order 2 different types of coin batteries. So it would have been nice. I get why they use the coin batteries, because obviously we're dealing with small parts here. But I think they could have maybe used the same type of battery, so you didn't have to order 2 different types. So that was kind of annoying. But other than that, I mean, like I said, none of these are deal breakers. They're just things I'm mentioning. And then just the last thing, which again, not crazy, but and it's a weird thing to complain about, because usually I'm annoyed that like the wires are too short and they don't give you enough room to get them into the plug and everything. Like you're always struggling with the slack. On the scale model side, the leg wires, the wires that go down to the feet, I kid you not, they come up out of the body and there's like this much left over that you have to shove into the chest. Whereas the other wires, there's maybe, you know, you get a little extra wiggle room to plug them into the box. So I don't know why we got so much extra wire on the foot side, but it made it a little challenging getting that all shoved into the chest area. But, you know, again, strange thing to kind of gripe about, but, you know, I just found it a little bit annoying. And then over on the Lego side, again, the only thing I can really say about that is the clutch. I mean, the whole like chest and torso just were not staying together. The clutch was just not there anymore, unfortunately. Now I could probably, you know, order some new pieces and swap those out to get, you know, to have newer pieces. But in the end, I got it to work, and let's be honest, I'm going to display it as a robot anyway. I'm not going to transform it a bunch of times. So once I, you know, put it back in the robot form, that's how it's going to stay. But I did find that interesting, though. And maybe that's just the case. I haven't rebuilt a lot of my Lego models. Once I build them, they just stay built. So, yeah. So maybe that's just an issue with, you know, Lego in general is, you know, once you build it, if you take it apart and reassemble it, it's not going to stick together as well. I don't know. So now that we're done with our Optimus Prime build, we've got some Lego builds coming up on Tuesdays that will take the place of this for a while till we figure out what we're going to do. And remember, we have that poll still going on the channel site. So navigate over to the YouTube channel and find the posts section and check out the poll. Vote in that. I will be closing that down. Let me give you a date here really quick. I will publish my announcement video on December 2nd. So you have until, let's say, November 25th to make your selections. I will shut down the poll on the 25th, and then the following Tuesday, I will do the announcement of what our next build will be. So until then, if you are new here, thank you so much for finding the channel. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. We've got some exciting stuff coming up. Also, check out our ongoing Batmobile, the classic 1966 Batmobile, and our Titanic builds. Those are still ongoing. We're about, on the Titanic side, we're about a third of the way through, so very exciting. I think we're about halfway through on the Batmobile side, a little over halfway. So definitely check those out. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's totally free, and we're hitting some milestones. Once we hit 500 subscribers, we'll be doing a giveaway. Same thing with 1,000 subscribers, we'll be doing another giveaway. So if you want to get some free Lego, definitely hit that subscribe button, totally free. And then if you do win, I ship it to you for free, so win-win. But until we see each other again, happy building, take care, be kind to each other, and I'll see you soon.